Mornings can be hard. In this episode, I'm going to switch things up. I'm going to share a recent story time of a very difficult morning that I had with my two girls. They are 4 and 5, almost 4 now. And I'm going to share how I went through and how I ultimately processed my anger and frustration that I experienced in the morning. So on this particular day, I had made a commitment within myself that I wanted to put off work and I wanted to show up for one of their swim classes. So that required of me to get a lot done in the morning, which meant that I was more stressed out when I came downstairs when it was time for them to have or get ready for swim class. And so I already came down to the downstairs with this level of rush, with this level of frustration and stress ultimately. And when I came downstairs, to my dismay, they weren't dressed as I thought they were going to be. They were doing something else. And I just immediately got triggered. My mind went to, we're going to be late. We don't have enough time. I can't believe they're not already dressed. This is not okay, right? So I'm automatically spinning out of control with very negative thoughts, and a lot of them having to do with time, scarcity of time. There's not enough time. And that led me to feel pressured and stressed and anxious and ultimately impatient and angry as well, right? What was underneath that impatience was fear that we were going to be late. And if you know me, you know I don't like to be late, okay? If we're not 10 minutes early, we are late in my book, right? So I have a lot to work on when it comes to the element of time and how it stresses me out, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. But I don't like to be late to things, and so this was a huge trigger for me. I started rushing around. I started barking orders at my little ones, go do this, go put on this, go put on your shirt, put on your coat, put on your shoes, right? I started barking orders at them before even connecting with them, right? Just immediately went into problem solving mode, the way that I thought problem solving was to be in this moment, because it felt like an emergency. And so what do we do in emergencies? We think very fast and we think about just what we need to get done. And so I was barking orders at them. I was getting upset because they weren't moving fast enough and they were getting distracted by whatever they were trying to do. And my mind and my body was just racing like a mad woman, right? And then, we finally got dressed, and I sat down to do their hair, which was the last step before we got out the door. And I had this moment to myself where I was like, wow, I just started noticing what was happening to me on an emotional level. And I was like, wow, I am feeling very anxious right now. And the whole point of me even being here is to share this moment with my child, to go to the swim class or whatever. And it's going against what was initially very important to me, was to have this special moment and to show them that I wanted to show up for them. And I also thought about how I didn't want them to associate swim class with anxiety, with frustration, with impatience, with anger, right? I didn't want them to associate those two. I didn't want them to think swim class, stress, right? And so I knew in that moment I had the power to turn things around. And so this is what I decided to do. Now, before we get into what I decided to do, I just want to quickly shout out that I have a 5-day live Mindful Mama Challenge coming up on April 18th. That's when it starts, and it ends on the 22nd. So it's all that week, 5 days, where I am going to be teaching live about how to show up as a more patient and present mom, how to understand our triggers and how to best show up in these moments. So we're going to be doing a deep dive live, and I'm going to be answering your questions. Every day is going to include a live Q&A element. Again, it's completely free. You can go to themomspsychologist.com/challenge to find out all the information and to register and save your spot. If you can't make it live, no worries. You want to be sure to register though, so that you can get the replay sent to your email. And be sure to spread the word about this challenge. I am really, really excited about it. And I want as many people who need this resource, who are wanting to take action, to see a better life and to be a more calm and patient parent. I want them to have this challenge in their hands. So if you can, do me a favor and spread the word. And yeah, I'm very excited about it. So it's coming up soon. But let me finish the story time. So I was sitting down to do their hair, and I first labeled my emotions because I started to notice them, right? And that's the first step to emotional regulation, is awareness, which it sounds so easy, but in the moment, it's so easy to just keep spiraling and doing and racing around that we don't stop to think, wow, like I'm feeling very stressed out right now. So that's the first thing I did, is I said, I am feeling very anxious right now. I am feeling stressed. I'm feeling overwhelmed because, take it a step further, right? What is my trigger? Because I'm feeling like we don't have enough time. I'm afraid that we're going to be late. I talked about this in last week's episode, what to do and say in the moment. So definitely check out that episode about how, phrases to use with our little ones when we get frustrated at them. But in this moment, I was like, I'm afraid. I have some fear going on about time and about us being late to swim class. It's really important to me that we're on time, and that's making me feel stressed and anxious. And then I stopped talking and I took some deep breaths. And I closed my eyes and I just took some deep breaths and I just had a pause moment. Again, because I knew, wow, I want to turn this around, right? And this starts with me. It's not about trying to change them and get them to go quicker. I need to regulate myself first. I need to be a positive role model. So I just stopped and I took some quick deep breaths. And then I said, I can choose to change my attitude around. I said that out loud, right? I can choose to change my attitude around. And then I continued to take my deep breaths as I did her hair. And then I said, thanks for your patience with me. I know I was a little stressed. I appreciate you understanding. I appreciate you being patient. This is really important to say this out loud to our kids, because we have to honor in these moments that these are stressful for them, right? That they absorb our stress and that this has an impact on them, right? This is a relationship that we are in. And so our behavior impacts our kids. And when we can honor and acknowledge that in the moment, it's incredibly validating for them. And it's like, wow, like they see me, right? They're taking responsibility of the way that they acted when they had an intense emotion. And guess what they're going to do? Guess what they're going to learn how to do? They're going to learn how to take responsibility for their own mistakes when they find themselves in those situations. So I just said, thanks for your patience with me. Thank you for understanding. We'll get to class when we get there. Okay, I was just like, let me turn this around. Let me have a new mantra. Instead of we're going to be late and not being my mantra, we're going to get to class when we get there. It's all going to be good. We are going to get there when we get there. Because here is the truth bomb in all of this, is that it's not my kids' fault that the adults in their life didn't manage their time, right? And didn't allow for more time for their slow moving feet and their distracted minds. Kids are all about the present moment, right? And they process things very differently than we do. And it's so easy for us and so tempting, and myself included, to look at their behavior through our adult lens, right? Of you're just not moving fast enough. It must be because you're trying to just move slow and you're trying to make us late and you're trying to annoy me, right? It's very easy to take their behavior personally, and then that contributes to how we show up, and we keep barking orders and we keep shouting and yelling and we're all getting out of control, right? And I had to take a step back and just say, it's not their fault that I didn't come down earlier, right? Or that I didn't give enough time for these mornings for the way that they process, right? Let me take accountability for myself, right? Let me take accountability for some of the choices that I made, right? And that this is a result and that I need to allow for more time, right? This is what this situation is teaching me. And being able as a parent to come to these moments like that, like, what is this situation all about, right? Like taking a step back and being like, all right, I'm not gonna take it personal, but what is this situation or trying to teach me? Where is my lesson here, right? Especially if you find yourself like in these patterns with your child, taking a step back to be like, what's going on here, right? Where's the lesson in here? Where do I need to disrupt this pattern to see something different can be incredibly powerful. And so with less time on the clock, I knew it was my responsibility to get us moving, but to get us moving in a positive way, in a calm way, in a present, connected way, right? Instead of barking orders at them, because clearly that wasn't even working, right? So, I made a simple shift to shift my energy, right? I made a simple choice, I should say, to shift my energy, name my feelings, and then model how I was going to regulate myself, right? I took some deep breaths, and then I also took responsibility for how I was feeling in that moment and thanked them for their patience, right? Now, here's the thing. I'm not perfect, y'all, right? And I hope that this story time really illustrates that, right? That just because we are working on being a more patient, being a more mindful, present parents, and that is the daily work that we have been gifted with, if you will, right? That we get to do this work is beautiful in and of itself. And that I'm not perfect, right? And you're not perfect, and nobody is perfect. Our kids aren't perfect. Your partner's not perfect. You're not perfect. I'm not perfect, right? So the more we can just acknowledge and just work towards repairing is really the best, right? And really shifting our approach, shifting our energy in the moment, right? And so, there's going to be times for all of us where our emotions get the best of us, right? One of the things that this situation taught me was how I need to work on my relationship with time, right? And how I need to continuously shift my perspective from there's not enough time is working against me, time is always running out, to I make time. I'm the creator of time. Time is on my side, right? Shifting that and shifting our language of how we even talk about time is really, really powerful, right? Because what we tell ourselves, the meanings that we ascribe to situations and different experiences is going to color how we show up in the moment, right? It's going to color how we think, how we feel, and then ultimately the choices that we make. So just really being conscious of, okay, what was this moment all about, right? Where was my trigger in this, and how can I shift the way that I'm thinking? Again, we're going to really dive deep into all of this inside my live 5-day Mindful Mama Challenge. So definitely sign up if you are interested. But here's the thing there's a lot that I want to kind of take away. Here's some of the takeaways. We all get to decide, myself included, from moment to moment how we want to show up in our relationship with our kids, right? Just because we showed up one way just a second ago doesn't mean we don't have the power to choose how we want to show up in this moment, right? All we really have is the present moment, as cliche as that sounds, right? We can't take things back. Sure, we can acknowledge and take responsibility and repair what we've done and the choices we've made and the impact it's had, but we can't relive those moments, and we all understand that, right? So the work comes in choosing moment to moment how we want to show up, and really just knowing that we have that power to choose is empowering, right? Because now we don't need to dwell in the past as much as we need to just focus on how do we want to shift our energy, right? What needs to happen? What needs to change to be able to show up as the best versions of ourselves right now in this moment, right? Nothing else really matters as much as this moment, right? And moment to moment, we get to decide, and we get to really be mindful of how we want to model these things for our kids. And so cultivating more presence starts with awareness, right? We first have to become aware of our emotions and our intense feelings and in the moment, right? Because again, it's so easy to spiral out. We have to first realize that we're losing it so that we can get back on track. And again, making that simple choice in the moment to show up differently is powerful. And slowing ourselves down. I cannot emphasize this enough. Again, it is so easy to spiral out, right? And just start doing stuff and barking orders and go, right? Because everything feels like an emergency. We're running out of time, so that means I need to run around. No, right? Slow yourself down and you'll find that you have even more time. Okay, I'm going to say that again. Start to slow yourselves down and you'll start to find that you have even more time, because then guess what? You make better decisions. You're more connected with your child, which means that they want to cooperate, right? You choose your language intentionally, right? You're less likely to feel guilty and ashamed because you're mindful of the words, right? You're mindful of your energy. And you choose how you want to show up versus just becoming a victim to your intense feelings and being more reactive. And, bonus tip for the mornings. Again, mornings are hard. I led with this, right? Mornings are hard. Mornings are historically triggering for a lot of parents, right? Myself included, especially with my whole mindsets around time, right? When we get into this, mornings require a lot of routine, a lot of transitions. I also have a video on my YouTube channel about smoother morning routines, so definitely check out that video. But there's a lot of routines, a lot of different tasks that need to get done in the morning, so it's no wonder we're all stressed out, right? We have to wake them up and dress them and get them ready and brush their teeth and go eat and get dressed and put on their shoes and their jacket and do their hair. I mean, it's a never-ending task of to-do list, and it can feel like time is not on our side. So I totally validate that. And one of the things that we can just start to do more and more is plan ahead, right? And allow for as much time as we possibly can. Wake up early, pack things, the night before. Work on, just regulating ourselves before we even get into that whole task of, running down your list of to-do things, just kind of trying to be mindful of how we're showing up. Because again, we'll find that we have more time when we slow ourselves down and regulate our emotions first. And then, bonus tip too, the older your child is, the more able they're going to be able to do this. So I'm thinking 4, 5 and on. But have conversations with them about mornings, like just noticing, the pattern that you might be falling into with them, right? I noticed that mornings have been really stressful lately. Like, have you noticed this too? And then, leading with a conversation about how can we work together as a team? I don't want to feel stressed out. I don't want you to go to school feeling all stressed out. I want us to have fun together. I want us to play. And I want us to feel connected and like we're working as a team. So how do you have any ideas, right? Even just asking that question, irregardless of if they even have ideas in that moment, is powerful for your child, because again, you're sending that message. We are a team. I want to work as a team. I notice this pattern. I notice that it's stressful on all of us, and I want to work together. That is powerful in and of itself, right? That is a healing agent in and of itself, just to bring those things to the surface, to the table for you guys to even talk about. And then from there, you can brainstorm different ideas. It could take, oftentimes it takes a lot of trial and error, right? We're not going to land on something oftentimes. Sometimes we do, and that's beautiful, and I love when that happens. But a lot of the times it takes trial and error of what's going to work for you guys, and these things can shift, as you go into different seasons in your life. And as your child goes through different things, different developmental milestones and different tasks and different grades and all of that, right? It's constantly shifting, constantly going to be something to reevaluate and adjust as you move forward. So I hope that this was helpful. I hope that this episode was helpful and just giving you some food for thought, changing it up a bit, sharing a little honest story time. And ultimately, again, we're all human, okay? None of us are going to get this perfect. You know that I'm always saying that, right? And none of us are perfect. I'm not perfect. And that's okay, right? Each moment we get to decide how we want to show up. And there's beauty in all of that. Again, don't forget to register for my free 5-day Mindful Mama Challenge that's happening really, really soon so that we can come together as a community and take action, okay? Oftentimes it's less about what we know and more about taking some action. So this challenge is going to be action packed. I'm going to be giving you concrete things to work on throughout the week and beyond so that you can start to transform your life, transform your relationship with your child, and ultimately how you feel as a mom. So go to themomspsychologist.com/challenge for all the information on how to register. I will see you guys there, and I'll see you in another episode. Bye.